You must have heard my daughter out there. She got some pretty good lungs. This is my family. We're from Sheffield. We have our closest tower is just a little over 3/4 of a mile away. The furthest one is less than 2 miles away. We did not oppose this project. We actually treated First Wind and all their employees with respect. We did not receive respect ourselves. I knew in the fall, when they started up, that it wasn't going to be good. And it did sound like a jet overhead. And it was probably half a year before we started noticing things were happening to us. First Wind were seeking out locations to put their monitors. Well, I told them frankly, yes, put one here because you will get some darn good noise here. They decided not to put it there. And in fact, they put it in a place where, hey, if I was going to not want to hear anything, that'd be a good spot to put it. We called them up as a good neighbor, instead of complaining first, to see if they would do something. They came down and talked to us, which amounted to just gobbledygook. And I asked them again to please put a monitor at my house, and they said no. They actually told the state, when the state had talked to them, they said no, they refused to have a meter. I just told them I didn't want one in my house. And as time has gone on, we're sick. I brought these studies here. And these are just a few of the studies that say that these things make you sick. And it compounds itself through time and gets worse. One doctor in here, and these are doctors, these are professionals. These studies were totally ignored. And one doctor's even saying that death can result from these. I have a picture here of a Steve Ambrose. He's another expert. We're in 3 impact rings. These impact rings are not just health risks. These are considered high health risks. Anybody living 2 miles and under from these things, plan on being sick. We are now, all our dreams are gone. I was working on my land for 17 years to sugar it, something to give my children, and now we have to leave. We've written letters to everybody. We've gone to the town. We've talked to whoever we can, and we have gotten nowhere. We are left hopeless. You don't want these things anywhere near. And trust me, these things are not green at all. And these companies, when they get their foot in the door, they're going to come in like a bully. They don't care. Their methods are very non-Vermont-like, as one would say. And you do have a beautiful town here. It is almost as nice as Sheffield. If anybody wants to look at any of these studies, I mean, because what the health risks are from high blood pressure. You actually have blurry vision. You wake up in a panic state at night, so then your adrenaline is rushing, so then you're not going to go right back to sleep. I'm lucky sometimes to get 2 hours of sleep straight without waking up. My son actually sat on my lap and said he was scared of the wind. There's a story in here of a boy that would not sleep in his own bed because he was scared. These are also relative to us now, which we did not know about. But I'll leave it at that, and I'll take some questions or whatnot. But like I said, if anybody wants to see any of these, more than welcome to look at them.
just wondering if these folks here have any thought of how we could help the people from Sheffield and other people that are suffering, like the Nelsons in Albany.
Change the vote of one of your senators.
Can I comment on that? The most important thing right now is when the Department of Public Service or the Agency of Natural Resources or the Public Service Board, for that matter, goes through and tries to evaluate whether or not a project is operating within compliance. Those studies need to be done very carefully with oversight from people who are not the wind developers. And unfortunately, there's not enough knowledge of, actually in many states, including Vermont, on exactly how these studies need to be done, particularly with noise studies, and to validate whether or not the projects are operating within compliance. And that's an issue. So if we want to really understand, or at least help the people in Sheffield, let's validate whether or not that project is actually operating in compliance.
That doesn't answer my question. My question is, how can we help this guy who's suffering now, not for a project that's going to be built somewhere else?
No, I understand what you're saying.
What's out there now?
Here's the situation. The Public Service Board approved the Sheffield project with certain standards based on noise, based on property value impacts and other things. And the only obligation for the developer right now is to operate within that permit. If he can demonstrate that he's operating within the permit's conditions, there is nothing that you can do other than Mr. Therrien going to court and stating that there's a public that has created a nuisance for him and has made it impossible for him to live. So he needs a legal defense fund. Unfortunately, that is where we are right now on operating projects.
You, sir, asked what you could do for them now. They got a long way to go back to Sheffield, and they don't have jobs that they're at right now because you didn't hear most of that story. I'd suggest give them $1 or $2 to help them get back home, because we're all here on our own dime, and their dime is a lot more important than any of ours.
Taking the collection right now.
And thank you, Phil, for your wonderful suggestion how to support Steve and Luann as they struggle in this really existential manner. So, so thanks everybody, and have a good night.
Thanks for the donation.